Well, and we are approaching the end. We've listened to a lot of interesting and inspiring speeches, which I hope you enjoyed just as much as I did. Time for me to say goodbye and hand it over to Leonteq CEO and founding partner, Jan Schoch, for a few closing remarks. Thank you very much for your attention.
So thank you very much, Ellen, for leading through this day. I have the honor to close the 9th Leonteq Day, which means that next year we have the 10th. I'm becoming grayer and grayer, so let's see how that turns out. So we started the day, to summarize, with Peter Forsmoser, who is of course going to be invited next year again. So that is a confirmation to you. Then we had Olaf and Chris leading us through real options and what we can learn us all using options, from options, probably in our real life. It was good to have some games in the morning for everybody to wake up. They meant we should be non-committal and try to postpone to commit. I think that was one of the takeaways. And the other one was uncertainty. People don't like it, but it's actually good, so try to kind of shape it by when you're going to decide something. Probably also bounded uncertainty, as you called it, is good for the business. Rollback possibilities, where's your rope? And so that you don't end up in a difficult turf. How can you have a rope which is an alternative, an option, effectively? Then we had David Rowan from, mentioning all the digital development which we have, trying to summarize that. And I think he did a very good job. It's a very difficult job to do these days, and how that's going to change our landscape also in the finance industry. Seamless experience being important, I think I fully agree. He also mentioned that banking is going to change a lot in the next 5 years. That's what he thinks, and I do agree. I think if we're going to look at it in 5 years' time, banking and insurance is going to look completely different, although probably we cannot imagine that really yet. So he then motivated everybody to work with fintech companies like us, not be afraid. I think I can only underline that statement, especially to our partners here today. Afterwards, we had Irmo and Alexis talking about our IT setup, how we have developed from an IT perspective, how the architecture has developed, what our priorities are. So a history of Leonteq from an IT perspective, which probably gave you some insights, also gave you some insights about some of our people in the IT department, which I think was helpful. Then we had Julius talking about the campaigns, micro-targeting. That was interesting as well. I think many of us have been quite shocked to a certain extent by the level of information you can gather, by the profiling, by the social media and lifestyle data they collect about everybody out there. Last but not least, we had Mr. Jean-Claude Trichet talking about positives and negatives. The negatives he mentioned was potential Chinese hard landing, although I believe you don't fully yet emphasize that this is going to happen. The oil price being a negative for the Brooks, kind of not with the I, BRCS. Then the Fed policy change, your 9th of August 2007 experience, which was spelled out well, and the geostrategic risks which might arise, and I fully agree. I think we are going to see a lot of that also this year in terms of those risks, but also the good sides, and I felt that somehow you were more positive than negative overall. So the US and the European growth, technology, what it means, low oil price being positive, and the transnational partnership that could be a positive for growth. You also mentioned volatility is here to stay. So good news for everybody using options as a statement here. Secular stagnation as a concept which you don't fully believe in, but is out there. And your focus on labor market and having more jobs being more important than growth in itself. And your statement that potentially there is people underassess the impact of growth. You mentioned the example into growth in terms of technology, how technology has changed growth in some sectors. You mentioned the media sector. I think we can also mention structured products and insurance products. But I would say in overall digitalization is still early days. If you look at the progress the industry has made overall in different sectors, but also in the financial sector. the progress is not yet very big. We're at the beginning of this development. With that, let me close by challenging a statement from Mike Tyson, quoted by Julius. Leonteq has been hit in the face, or punched in the face, as he apparently said, by the stock market lately, but I think we still have a plan. With that, I thank you very much for coming. I thank all of our clients and all of our partners, media and speakers who have been here. We're looking forward to this year. I personally am quite positive, so let's take this to the next round. Thank you very much for participating. Have a great start in the year.